Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Indices, and we'll start with the S&P. This is a weekly chart. We've been looking to the upside in terms of wave 4 here, going up to wave 5 here, and we've been looking at it as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. We could also view this as 1 and 2 here as well, and then pushing up for 3. But we're not really seeing the volume in this area to validate a third of a third of a third wave here. It's more likely on the diminishing volume that we're looking at this wave 1 here at the top over here for this, and looking at a pattern in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. The question is do we have a top in place here at the moment? So in terms of the volume, we've been looking at the monthly volume, and it's the 31st of October today, so it's the last day of the month. This is the S&P index here, so we can see that the market's been moving up on lower volume, not a lot, but less volume, and the ranges have been getting smaller and smaller. When we come down to the paper money onto the futures exchange here, we'll see a more significant diminishing volume here, reading it bar for bar, just getting less and less and less here. And we can have a look at the Nasdaq side of things. So we can have a look at the Nasdaq's got better volume actually. So this is the Nasdaq E-mini futures here. So that's done quite well here. Obviously that's, day traders in amongst all of that. And the composite of here, so pushing up, because we are seeing, we are currently long in some of these big tech stocks. I won't go into all of that at the moment, but as you know, we're long in some of those that are still need to climb high. We'll be talking about that in a moment. So yeah, then we come down to the Nasdaq 100, though, so we can see that diminishing volume here. So the other one that was pointed out to me, which I thought was quite interesting, was the semiconductor side of things. So we can see that it hasn't even taken out the top here, and we're also getting diminishing volume here. So we'd have overlapping wave structures in here. Yes, of course, we could look at them as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 to the upside. So there's a possibility, but it's not really displaying the volume that we need in here for this as well. So in a way, just coming back to this here, we're not seeing the volume to look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 to the upside. I can't rule it out, but it does tick a box that this one here would be more dominant in here. So all of our stock trading has really been pushing up into this area. Now the question is do we have a top in here? That's the next question here. So if I just bring across this particular chart here, then it makes a nice case for having wave 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. It's quite clear and distinct in terms of its patterns here. So the only problem with this one here though is that I'm not really seeing an impulse wave to the downside. I could see a possible series of 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s coming to the downside, but because of let's just start with the banking sector here for a moment, because with the banking sector here, you can clearly see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and we've been looking for the 5th wave to move up here. So this is where I think a lot of the stocks are that we've been sort of working with in the S&P to get to this wave 1 here. Now this is just JPM here, so but yeah, so banks are in this particular pattern that we're looking at. So perhaps a top is not in place just yet, and we can look at the market in terms of just bear with me here for a second. I think I might have it here. So looking at it like this here, having just coming back to Morgan's here, just having this 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 coming up here, having a wave 4 here. Now we can see, because partly because of earnings, partly because of the elections, and we've also got the Fed's meeting as well coming up on pretty much the same day before, day after of the elections as well there. So there's a fair bit going on here, and as I mentioned, we can point out that the upside is quite limited because of the volume. But looking at this as wave 4 here, and then try to understand this particular pattern here as a wave 4. So we know wave 4s can pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, so that's also doable here. So we're kind of looking for one more move to the upside, and we're getting that from tech stocks as well. I won't go into a big spin here, but basically if I go to Meta here, we're looking at wave 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and leading to the upside here. So not a lot to go into this one here to get this wave 1 coming into play here, and then wave 2 over here. So when you get to tops in the market, it doesn't always finish the way that you would like them to finish. So some markets will get pulled down by other markets, and so on and so on. So we just have to be really careful here. Everybody can see that it's on lower volume, it's weak, it's toppy. How to get it exactly right? Well, that's a bit of a guessing game as well. But let's go in and start guessing and just move into this wave 4 here area here. So over the last few days here, we've been looking at it as a possible sort of triangle pattern here with an A wave, a B wave, a C wave, a D wave, and then the ABC here for this finishing here, and then going up for 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, 5 to finish off here. So hopefully the banks will finish off up here, and Meta platform and others in that particular fold here. Now, as I mentioned, we could view this as a top being in place over here. That would be it's possible. But the only way to look at that would be having because this move down here counts quite nicely as being corrective, but you could have it as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then down for 1 and back for 2 really high here. Or does that actually take that out? I'll have to check that on the cash market. Pretty damn close, whichever way you want to look at it. So I'd have to look at the cash market for that. But yeah, so that would be that. This pattern here, as we looked at the volume in terms of the Nasdaq comp, it's got better, stronger volume there as well. So with the Nasdaq here, if we pick up this wave 4 here, so on the S&P we're looking at this wave 4 here. I mean, I'd always sort of preferred it to be over here, but I'm not really getting. I could get a 5-wave structure out of this, but you'd start throwing stuff at me. So we'll go for this one over here, but it does put me out in terms of timing, because if we look at the Nasdaq here, we've been looking at this as a 3 ABC for 4 here, and then 1, 2 3 ABC for 4 here, and yesterday we were talking about the top and the turn here, and this is the 50-60%, and we're probably sort of nearing the end at this point here. So we'll be looking for a move up here, and the long trade here will be getting support on top of the 25, the 500 here, with a classic trading levels pattern here, which will look like that. So you want this, take a picture of that, you want this pattern on that particular level there of that 500 here, and yeah, so that would be confirming it to the upside. But now we have a pretty clear sort of impulse wave here, and while this was topping and turning yesterday, we wanted the S&P 500 here to also move up and come back as well. So that's how that looks at the moment. I mean, we could go sort of wave 1 here with an A and a B and a C here for wave 2, and then 3 and 4 and 5 here with an ABC, and put wave 1 over here. Now this might be quite critical to understand that sort of like pathetic sort of count, because we've got to get this top here. They'll all sort of the bigger ones will sort of top together at that point. So anyway, just chucking that in there. So yeah, look, we had our ADP figures come out, and they were quite positive. Good for good for the economy, consuming, more people working. The GDP figures were a little bit sort of softer, but those ADP figures will lead into the non-farm payrolls on Friday, which I think they got it as 108, but I think it'll be a lot more than that. So it should be positive, but Yeah, I mean, you've got to kind of read between the lines on these things these days. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Our long trade is on here for this here, and we can just drill into this here for a moment. And this was let me just get some more data in here. So we'd been working through this with 1 and 2 and 3 here, the A wave, the B wave, and getting through to the C wave for wave 4, and then pushing up and topping and turning here. And we're doing our best with it, and I haven't actually just checked to see if we got a low in place. It was a little bit, I think we're pretty close. Looking at this here, this would obviously be, wave 1 here with wave 2 to here. I don't know, I have to just check on that. I have to check on the cash market, see if we can count 5 waves here. But this one over here, this a classic trading levels pattern on the 20,500 is what you really be looking for at that point. If you can get a classic trading levels pattern here, then you've got, and if it pushes up here, it'll be like this pushing up here. It could be different. The only difference it would be if it came up here and then reacted here and then pushed up. So that would be the only difference. But otherwise, wait for that first high, bring it down to the second high, and you can bring it down further. This sort of pattern sitting over here for that. So I'll leave you with that, and perhaps I'll be there for it. We'll see. But that's that. Let's just see how that sort of plays out. Now, as we're analysts, but we're also traders, so we want to put our trading hat on, because the whole point of the exercise of all of this is to make money, and all we're really doing is looking for trade setup. So the analysis can be wrong, but we're just looking for a trade setups that have got high probability, and this is one of them. Will we get it? Don't know. Don't get upset. If we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't, and that's that. And then we'll need to reassess things. Now, just before I go on, I forgot to do the Bitcoin chart in the stocks video, so I'm going to quickly do that now. This is the weekly chart, and I've got 2 bullish counts. I quickly want to go over them. One of them is this one here, where we have wave 1 here, 2 here, and then 5 waves up here for 3 and 4 here, and then going up for 5. This is kind of in line with the S&P and the Nasdaq. So yeah, that's that. And we can look at that as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and going up for the 3rd wave and the 4th, and moving up higher. That's basically slightly different, but same as it's the same, looking for the same sort of top for the S&P and the Nasdaq as well in that sense. So that's one way to look at it. The other way to count this, and that count here would take us up to wave 1 here with an ABC for wave 2, and then we'd go up again through here. But when we come up to the 1 here, we'll obviously have a bit of a fluffing around here before going up here. So this is count 1. The count 2 is this one here, where we go up here, we come back here, we go up here, and this is a classic trading levels pattern here. Right, we get this pattern here, which I think this one here, even though that this is a nice count to here, this is probably what we'll get here. So we'll probably spend more time. I always sort of, hope for the best and plan for the worst. And this is probably the pattern that we will get. I don't really understand why the market's moving up here. I mean, since the ETFs have come into play, I can see some, volume coming into that. So I would just assume that, these companies, BlackRock and all the others, I think they're actually probably, because we knew that it would take 6 months or whatever for them to get all their get organized to sell it to their clients. Get all the same as with any business. I just break it down into four parts to keep it simple. I just see a business as finance, legals, product, and marketing. And I'm always working on those 4 with Trading Lounge. Now inside of those is it opens up further, and you can look at things in a different way. But it's taken 6 months to get it to the approvals, and then all of this time to get it to market to their client. So I think that's probably where this is coming in from. But look, once again, I'm just guessing. Anyway, this count up here for 1 is 1 count. The other count, if I go to the daily chart, we'll have it a little bit differently. Let me just get a little bit more data in here to pick up that that low off the low here. So in the last count we had wave 1 here, but in this count we've got this primary wave 1 here. So 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I think it kind of fits quite nicely, and then a 3 and a 4 here. And then over here we have wave 4 going up to wave 3 up here, then 4 and then 5. Now I might change our S&P and Nasdaq count to this as well. There's something else, but I don't have to worry about that at the moment. But this is what would happen at level 1 here would be, you know, what it's just, this particular pattern is what I would expect at this. 1 is the strongest number in the market. So this is what I would expect at this particular point in time. But I also understand that with, you know, BlackRock and the other half a dozen or 12 or 10, 8, whatever, you know, they will all be taking their clients to market at this, you know, in this particular run here. This is what, you know, I'm just sort of guessing. And, you know, when we do make new highs, and also to the, you know, the 4-year cycle, you know, be it Plan Bs or root or what, you know, the halving cycle, the 4-year cycle. We're just moving into, you know, the power point of those particular cycles. So yeah, so this is the other side here. So we can count this up here. I've got this as 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. Now believe that's the count. Now I could also look at this too in a bearish count as an A and a B here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and top here, and then come down here for that. So that's quite possible. We could view that as well. But when we go into count here, you might see that when we're counting that I'll have wave 1 here, and then this wave 1 is over here for this. But don't worry about that. It's just, I'm just tracking 2 different counts on all of that. So if I go into the 20,000 count here, this is the possibility of having a top in place here as a B wave. So this would be all of this correction as an A, B, C here for the A wave, and A, B, C here for the B wave, and down for the C wave. That's the bearish thing. When we're in a bullish market, you know, the art of war, when you're on one side, you've got to prepare for the other. So we're in a bull market, so you prepare for the bear market. So this would be it here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this 5th wave here would need to be smaller than wave 3 here, because wave 3 is smaller than wave 1 here. So we, in this case here, we'll just push up into a little bit higher here. I think the other top was somewhere up here at 70, I can't remember, 73,400 or something. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's over there. It's going to struggle at the top anyway. So that's that. And then we come over to just to drill in here a little bit further. So in this case, we've got wave 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here. So now we're looking at the bull market. We've got a few positions in here, so we'll just keep those, and, you know, just swing trading stuff. So we've got 1 and 2, 1 and 2 here. So 1 and 2, and going up for wave 3 here. So in this instance, we'd be looking at this in terms of just, I'll take this, my mud maps with a pinch of salt, of course. 4 and then 5 up here, and an ABC here, and yada yada. Remember number 8, the 3rd strongest number, so that's going to be profit taking at that point. That needs to go here, here, but you're kind of just getting a bit of an idea of the, you know, I don't have the other count. There'll be a larger wave 3 up there, and then a 4. So it'll be, let's just put that in there for the time being. A wave 3 and 4. Oops, a daisy, and then up for a wave 5. So will we get to the 100,000? You know, we'll see. But you know, this, expect the market to be stalled at the 80 here. But this is the count here. So wave 2 to wave 3 here, with 1 and 2, and then a little 1 and 2 in here, and 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th here for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and yada yada yada. To the upside, we can break that down further into the 1,000, just get a bit of an idea in here. So in this instance here, we've got 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 here. Then we got all the way up here for 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5. So that top we talked about yesterday played out nicely. 4 here and 5 up here. Just moving up through the levels here. So this is corrective here as an ABC pattern, and we'll move up to here. You know, I mean, we've got to adjust the mud map as we go along, you know. But anyway, you get the idea. Won't bore you to death with all of that. But yeah, looking looking okay for Bitcoin in that regard. So sorry about missing that in the previous video. So we come over to the Russell, and we haven't taken this high out here, right? So that means that we still need to move higher at this point. I could probably go some sort of, A wave here with an A and a B and a C for the B wave here and up for the C wave and crash down here. That's quite possible. But I think I'll stay with the positive side of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for 1. And then here we were looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the A wave. Yesterday we were looking up for the B wave up here. Coming into our sort of target area here, so that's obviously done at that point into our 61.8%, and we'll come down here for this. So in this instance here, we should see, I mean, we could move up from here, but I'm thinking we'll do something like this. Now, if we just do push up from here, because see, I've got to count this here. I could go wave 1 with an ABC for 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and all that sort of waffle. But yeah, all we need to do at this point is go, so we don't miss out, going on the journey, we need to be long above that point. Otherwise, we'll come down here, and then we'll look to bring this down here. We'll get a long trade over here for that. So nothing to do, nothing to see here at this point in time. And then we come over to the DAX. And the DAX, I'm putting this in as wave 4 here, and then going up for wave 5. So this will be in line as an ABC pattern here. Will be in line with it'll be in line with the S&P 500, which I think is important. Once again, I could put this wave 1 over here in this case, so we could view that, and it does count quite nicely. I think I might have it on the 20, I'm not sure. Yeah, so here as wave 4 here, so we could count it up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and have a top in play here. But what I would like to do, just give me some grace here, to look at this as a 5 wave move here, and once we've got that 5 wave move, then it moves up here. We'll either move up further up here, or we'll come up as an ABC pattern here, and then we'll come down again. So you can see we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 happening here. So once that low is in place here, we can pretty much short below that, but we'll take the B wave as the short at that point, but otherwise we'll push up. So it's possible. It does count quite nicely, because wave 3 here is a bit shorter than, well, a lot shorter than wave 1, and then wave 5 here is shorter than wave 3. So it's all quite nice, but are we going to be looking at a deeper move, here for wave 2? It's a little bit, it's a bit early, but we have seen, the bull run up from December, October, November 22 or whatever it was. The DAX led the way to the upside, so maybe it's first to turn as well. But I'll just go into the 1000. We'll just check on it here. So wave 3 with an A, B, C here for the B wave, and then down for the C wave here. So I'm thinking that there is one more little move down here for this before we get that. So if you get that, we can go long at that point. We may have the low in here already on this one here, but I did check on the cash market, and I could count it down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Now, be a little bit careful here, because you might be an A wave, a B wave, a C wave here, and then down. So just be a little bit careful about that, how that sort of plays out. It would be nice if it came down and then came back up, and then you have the first high above the level on group 1 here, and then you could move in from that point with a small position with the view of adding on top of the 5 at that point. We come over to the FTSE, and as I've been saying, I don't really know the count on this particular market, right? This move up here on this particular market hasn't taken the top out here, where it did on the DAX and some of the other markets. So I'm just trying to sort of fit it. This particular top here, 5 of 1 here. This will be a big one on the S&P and all the rest of the markets around the world. So I'm thinking, can we get up to here? Can we do that? So I really don't know. I just don't know how this is going to play out. I just don't know how this play out. I've been sort of looking at another way to view this as well. So on the weekly chart here, just looking at the slightly bigger picture here, looking at it like this here, which is slightly different, but up for 1 here, back for 2, up for 1, back for 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, the fourth, and a truncated fifth for the third here, and the fourth wave pulling back down to the fourth wave of one lesser degree here, and then making just a slight top up here for the fifth, and then this would line up with the S&P and the bigger picture and the Nasdaq and all the rest of them, the Western world, I should call it. So I don't know, but I know that we don't want to go long at this point, obviously, but yeah, this is sort of where we are. So if I go back to the daily chart here, having it as wave 2 here, it's either probably we got wave 2 or we got wave 4 over here, which is correct. I really don't know. It just depends how this stops, when this stops here, and will it follow the other markets, to the upside here. I don't really know. I mean, all I've been looking for is getting support, a tested support, not just trading above, but a tested support on top of group 1, the 8.3 there, and it just hasn't delivered that. And I can view this here as a short move down here, or I can take the long road down here, and we looked at the long road coming down here yesterday, so we'll look at it again here, which is from the top in this B wave here as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2, and then coming down for wave. I can count 5 waves. Could count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, yeah. So 3, 4 here. This is looking a little bit squishy on this one here for this, to come down into wave 5 here, then 4 and 5. So basically this one here is not that long really, but down here, and down here for this, is that, and we'll just watch it sort of play out a bit further, but that would give us our 5 waves down for wave C of 2 in this case. Could we count it a bit differently? Possibly. Yeah, there's possible, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not seeing any impulse waves to the upside at this point. If I'm totally wrong and we see an impulse wave up here, well then we'll work that as a trader, and and look to trade that in our normal way. But otherwise, we've just got to allow this to play out here. And then we come over to the Australian market. I also want to work this as a wave 4. Yesterday we were considering this being a wave B top up. I think we were just here, weren't we? And we're looking for some retest to the 82.65. Didn't quite get there, but doesn't matter. With what we've got now, it does appear that we've got a reasonably nice 5 waves down. I should have double checked that. I don't know if we get another one down, but either way, at this stage we either wait or we can take that high here. So we'll see if we get we could come down here one more, and then we'll have to wait for this to play up here to to take that trade over here at this point. So I just assume this would be 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But maybe I've got to double check that. So yeah, I mean, can we look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here? Well, wave 4 is really big compared to wave 2, and also wave 4 here would overlap wave 1 here, to consider a top being in play, because we can also consider a top being in play here as well. I don't know where we've put that now. Let me just think. I don't know if it's on the daily chart or something. Yeah, this one here, having we can look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here. Otherwise I've got to drag this as wave 4 here and look at this over here for this. So because I've got to kind of think about the rest of the world as well. So I think there can be still another move up here before we top. I mean, the more that it locks under the number 2 here, the more that it will got a possibility of coming down at that point. So I just got to wait. It's just it's just a very tricky situation at the moment, and in terms of pattern, which are being caused by the US markets, which are being caused by certain events that are going on, and we just got to kind of chill out. Don't forget to breathe and sort of let this pass. And when we can pick up the pieces, we can pick up the pieces. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.